Hello, namaste, and welcome to the Brand Narrative. And today we have another interesting episode on this. And today's guest doesn't need any introduction. Her name itself is an introduction. And we have Ms Fatema Agarkar, who's the founder of Agarkar Center of Excellence. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. And what a sweet welcome. Pleasure to be in conversation with you this afternoon.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am has been doing a lot in the industry in terms of education. She's been omnipresent, I will say. She's been going to all the NGOs, different platforms, talking about sports, talking about other things, parenting, a lot of other things. But today, I would want to go a little behind the scenes and want to know your journey more. Not want to know how this brand you have created, how you want to impact from your brand, and how you really want to take sports onto another level. So my first question to this is, what has inspired you to start ACE, and was this always in your mind when you were studying?
Quite frankly, I'm going to answer the second question first. No, it wasn't what I intended to do when I was studying. I wanted to become a banker. I've done my master's. I even worked in the corporate world in the financial space for a period of time before I made the shift. So no, it wasn't my life's goal, but I'm so glad it became a part of what I call my ACE now. Because the reason for getting into education and what we call it at ACE, it's sports and education and sports, the beautiful marriage. Simply because we hadn't created enough opportunities for holistic growth, for evolution, and sport is actually education in itself. And then you bring in aspects of learning, which is, science. There's so much mathematics involved in sport. There's so much science involved in it. There's language, there's communication. So in a sense, it just felt, kind of a lacune that we felt we had to jump in and help the next generation overcome, simply because there wasn't exposure, there wasn't opportunity. And fortunately for us, both Ajit and me, in some way have spent so much time in our individual spheres and built our experience, hard won, hard days, tough decisions to be made. But that learning helped us create a package that will hopefully help more families, help managements, help principals, help teachers, really redefine the journey of learning for children. And sport is an integral part of it. We're about realism. We're about creating more fun for the children to learn and honestly create more thinkers. We keep saying it, but I think COVID changed a lot in terms of mindset for parents. So yeah, it wasn't what I woke up thinking I would do when I was studying, but I'm so grateful that my destiny took me in that direction and actually created it for myself.
Great. So there's a saying, ना पढ़ोगे पहले बोलते थे कि पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब और खेलोगे कूदोगे तो बनोगे खराब. But now the story has changed totally. Now पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो भी नवाब बनोगे और खेलोगे कूदोगे तो शायद बड़े नवाब भी बन सकते हैं. So it's beautiful actually. What you're saying is, I would also want to say that sports itself is an institution of learning. If you play something, you are going to learn a lot of things and your life skills, which we keep talking only. But yes, definitely. So, because
careers of tomorrow, it's a universal fact. If you're thinking about 2040, if you're thinking about 2080, it's going to be alternative careers. Perhaps the more traditional careers will be taken over by AI. Then you'll need creativity, then you'll need skill, then you'll need talent. Those are the careers that unfortunately, at least I do not foresee that being cloned to perfection. Well, a lot of it can use artificial intelligence. So that means that there is monetization. And I think the mindset has changed that perhaps the skill sets lie. There's a funny cartoon which I think it summarizes it. There's a little kid who's telling the father, can you tell my teacher that there are 8 or 9 people teaching me different subjects, but I'm only one student and I'm supposed to master every one of them. Clearly, they're mastering their subjects. How on earth can I master it? I'm still a kid. It actually tells us that we compartmentalize these kids and now let them come out. Maybe there's a musician who wants to be a lawyer, but why can't we combine? Why isolate? So yeah, we're about that. We're about integration.
So true, so true. And ma'am, since you're talking about that you never dreamt of coming to education industry, but then your destiny has brought you here. I really want to know how was your, emotion on the very first day when you shifted from your banker job or banker career to education career.
It reminds me again of another story or another image. It's like a little kid going into a candy shop for the first time. And you're looking around and you're seeing so much potential, so much opportunity. It's almost like, where do I start and how will I get it all? That's the excitement. I wasn't nervous. Funnily, I wasn't nervous. I think I was nervous when I started my first role at a corporate bank. I had butterflies in my stomach. I didn't know whether I'll fit in. But the moment I took on the entrepreneurial route, I just knew I could make it. I will do something. I will create more opportunities and perhaps rewrite some scripts. So for me, it was super excitement.
Oh, wow. So I'm sure because your posts, what you do, what you talk, and I have been attending many of them. So I know what you talk. So I really know you are there with your heart and with yourself. So I know that it's not that easy, and you have already said that it has been established during the lockdown period. So there's another more challenge, added challenge to the normal challenge. So we want to know that what were the greatest challenges you faced when you thought of doing something?
To be honest, like any entrepreneur will tell you, there's a period of evolution. I think the brand narrative in itself, reflects that there's a journey, there's a process. For me, when we set up a school or a sports academy, it isn't just about reputations, because that is passé. Eventually, it's that moment, what you do, you connect, but it takes time to build confidence. Some of the great success stories, some of the great restaurants have, celebrities attached to it, don't necessarily do well. So it requires precision, expertise, time. There's an effort to connect. Now, what happened during lockdown is it was all virtual. And there is this saying, na, hum to Hindustani hai na, wo touch feel to karna hi hai. This virtual world perhaps doesn't allow you that personal connect. Fortunately for us, we worked harder. We worked harder to connect. We worked harder to send out kits. We repeated ourselves. We oriented. We got into rationale. So that was itself a huge time investment. In the physical world, it would have happened or hastened its process. And I think all the entrepreneurs will admit to that. The other bit is we're a price-sensitive market. We continue to be that. हमें Ferrari चाहिए, लेकिन Fiat के भाव से. So when you are talking about quality, and we do pride ourselves about our training, about the skill level, the communication, the whole experience. A brand is not just selling, to someone's want or need. It's an experience. It's a journey. There are price points to it. There's a lot of back end, and thank you for allowing me to share on that back end. Months of research, months of toiling, searching, bringing it together, product redesign or service rethink. How do we package it? How does it create impact? There's a lot of labor involved, whether it's a service or a product. So it has to therefore be rewarded and compensated. I will tell you, we're a price sensitive nation. So it takes a while. Fortunately for us, we've been able to say, if you want value, you must give value as well. And we're grateful. Our clients have partnered us with a lot of grace and admitted to enjoying the journey for that price point as well.
So, ma'am, since we're talking about the services product, we would love to know how transforming the products and the services, kind of services which AC is providing right now.
Through both our verticals, which is education and sports. With the education vertical, we set up schools as consultants. We have operations management contracts where we take over running a school with school audits, parent workshops, student engagements, teacher training, essentially A to Z of the services. And with sports, it's academies, after school hours, in school curriculum, and also specialization. So if someone really wants to invest in a career, this is no longer after you finish grade 10. This is actually starting to think about it in middle school. So for us, our unique model is simply because we have a very strong R&D. I think the great companies of the world have set a precedent that if you want to be a quality provider, service or product, it is important to constantly research best practices, come up with innovation that also goes through a product life cycle. So I think we have a very strong R&D. We're very connected to the future. So we're talking to CEOs, we're talking to HR heads. We want employability, whether it's sports or education. We want to make it, I spoke about it, realism. Children are learning, but children can learn through Google as well. So what's the difference that we bring? You can actually take on a sports video online and be skilled. But what's the difference? The difference is application. The difference is all the other case studies. The difference is participation. The difference is playing against a better team or challenging yourself, putting yourself out of the comfort zone. But also with the end goal in mind that these children are then going to be employable. So they need the right skills. For me today, 100 on 100 is the easiest bit to guarantee. What isn't is how you will communicate. What isn't is your ability to make the right decision at the right time. What isn't is how quickly you will draft an email when you just got fired by your boss for slacking off your task sheet. Your ability to be on the ball, whether it's sports or education. And we want to make sure that we create real success stories for children. And that's why we're different. So the impact is when children come back and say, that was non-threatening. I understood the point of view. I still don't like it, but hey, I know how to navigate, get over my initial reservation, get the job done. So it's not about rote learning now. It's about saying, I don't like it, but I know I have to optimize and I still have the skill sets to do it. So I think the impact is less pain, more gain, independence, confidence, thinking for a change and not having to be told what to do, happier parents, more relieved parents, that I don't have to check what the homework is, or I don't have to check itne kitne ball ko defend kiya or kitne ball ko maar diya. Parents don't have to micromanage because it's led by the teams that we train to do it. And I think that in itself means we're a more balanced society. We're not a micromanaged society. That can never be a sign of a progressive nation. And I think that's the impact we're creating.
So appropriately quoted that micromanagement will be eliminated through your services and product, because I know the plight of the parents that they give the fees in the school, and then finally when their children come home, they send them to tuitions also, that they pay there also. So finally the role of the education was not just restricted to the school. Now the school teacher also feels like, okay fine, tuition mein pad lega, we don't care. So we need to change this. If the child is going for 6 hours in school, they have to learn there, not come back and go for another learning center. So beautifully quoted. I really want to summarize your story in one line. What will be the title of your story?
Challenge seeker.
Challenge seeker.
I love challenges.
So I'll write a book and it will have Fatema Agarkar, the challenge seeker. And if I want to convert one of your statement as a quote by Ms Fatema Agarkar.
Oh, so I started off saying that my destiny got me into the education space, but I actually think it's a script that you create for yourselves. Um, you will be exactly in the place that you were meant to be, yes, but you can change that into the script that you want to be. So wants and needs are very different. For me, you can rewrite the script several times. One script doesn't mean the be all and end all. The beauty of sequels is that you can craft another story.
Oh, wow. So it's getting interesting. And I now moving towards the end of this interview. Now I really want to ask from you about some of your future endeavors which you want to share with our viewers.
We want to look at an old age home. I have been talking about foster homes forever. We may not have 100 foster homes, but even if we can create 2 of our own in the heart of the city, helping children who are moving from orphanages to orphanages, create soup kitchens, which is so popular abroad, but involving a lot of the community to cook warm meals, for those who cannot afford it. This would be a part of what our foundation would work at. Schools, building schools, wo ho jata hai. There are enough people wanting to do, there are enough NGOs. But these are areas that we believe our work will help support. And yes, ACE wants to create a presence now beyond India. We're looking at the Middle East. We're also looking at Southeast Asia. We want to be with our neighbors as well, and Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka. These are all conversations that have already begun. So we hope the ACE India presence can now be a more global one, and that's the roadmap for the next 3 years as well.
It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time with you. I had a lovely conversation, insights, and a lot of suggestion coming from you, talking about nation, education, and how things are going. Soup kitchen. Lovely to have you on board, ma'am. We look forward to have such more interactions with you in future. And thank you, viewers, for your time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Lovely afternoon with you.
Thank you.